The years of doing tub and tile work, I've done, I couldn't tell you how many re-caulking jobs, and I realized I never really shot a full video. So I put it out there on Facebook. If anybody had one they'd like to volunteer to get a free job done. I'm not doing any cleaning or anything. I'm just going to pull out this existing latex caulk that's in there and dry it out and come back in a couple days and reinstall it. So this is actually a very old house in Minden, Nevada. You can tell by the door trim, window trim, that the current owner thinks this fiberglass install was put in the early 80s. And it's a fairly thin and kind of flexible material, and my only concern with it is that I'm using razor blades, and if I slip or skip, I'm going to cut it. So you got to be kind of slow and methodical about it. Now, she had a traditional metal frame glass sliding door that was heavily corroded, and see where it's all held in place, and they pulled it out, and here's some damage where they probably chipped it, taken off the old silicone or whatever was underneath there. But the first step is removing, in this case, probably 2 layers of past I keep saying silicone, latex applications. So just always keep a fresh blade. These things will dull rather quickly, especially if you buy the old Stanley cheapies. So you got to keep swapping them out. But you want to come in and cut from 2 angles and kind of scour it. And just keep making cuts. Don't work in big areas. If you get going too quick, you're going to end up slipping and skipping and cutting it. So we got that going. Let me put the camera on a tripod so I can work at this a little bit. All right, much better. So slowly and gently we're going to cut at this. Well, that's a perfect camera angle. And again, work it from 2 angles. And this one's fairly easy. What'll be nice is the gap or the crack should be real consistent in shape as opposed to a tile install where every 4 to 6 inches it's a different size, and it just makes it a little more challenging to fill up. On this one I'll show you 2 ways to fill it. One is freehand and one is using blue tape as a mask. So again, I don't know if you can hear that, but if I go in too much at an angle, I'm going to catch this epoxy coating. See that little spot right there? That's already caught. I'm not sure if I did that, but you just want to be real gentle at it and not pop off any of this blue coating because it's pretty thin. So I'll keep a little brush on hand, knock stuff off. Usually you want to crank some tunes and have some knee pads on and just be slow and methodical about it. And typically a 3-wall tub like this might take you, shouldn't take more than an hour and a half to get it all off. Now this install was used yesterday, and being that a lot of these areas are compromised, I'm going to imagine that we might see a little water oozing out here and there, which is pretty common. See this brush? Ace and Home Depot. This is the Home Depot brand. They sell these. This is the plastic one, which is nice and soft. But they also make them in brass and steel, which is excellent for grout work. Yeah, see that there? Boy, shows how thin this coating is. What a bummer. But it is not my fault. It's just a really superficial coating on there. So some of this stuff I'll dig out. I'll either vacuum it out or I'll take a dental pick, a real dental pick, the type hygienists use that have the curves, and they are excellent for digging. And God dang, you see that? That is my fault. Son of a bitch, man, it's coming right off. Look at that pisser. I have to get some blue paint. Actually, that's not my fault. See all that? That's already off. Baby blue model paint, I guess. That's be the answer here. Such is life. Cheap bathtubs. There's no way around it. So actually, I'm going to take my words back there. I think this gap is getting bigger as we move towards the back wall. One of the things I'll show you is that, see how the silicone, it rides up the wall, which most people think that's a better way to seal it. When I do it, I only fill the gap. I don't leave any smear, any runoff, because all that does is flex when somebody gets in the tub or you fill it with water, and then eventually it pulls away and soap and mold and everything else gets under there, and then you get mold growth and looks like crap. And when I revisit here in a couple days, I'll show you how to get it just in the gap. So this one's fairly easy. Biggest problem with this is this cheapo coating. Actually, see how the gap isn't all that consistent. I've done some of these where I've found up to 5 different products: latexes, silicones, grout, glue, liquid paper, all kinds of junk. People just keep putting in there and they never clean out the old product. They just keep adding more and more and more. I think it's kind of comical, but you know, when you pay a handyman $50 to do it, you get what you pay for. When we do these, we're generally charging $300-400. If nothing else, 2 minimum charges. It's 2 visits, and well, in Santa Cruz, our minimum charge is $250. So there's 500. Over here in Nevada, it'd be half that. But this nice lady's getting a freebie because she volunteered this because I actually hardly see any moldy showers and bathtubs over here in Nevada just because the low humidity. Where Santa Cruz, we get calls daily, and most of them are too far gone to the point where we got to charge for estimates, because most people, unless they come out and they're trying to avoid paying for a new tub, retiling or insert or whatever, and they think an expensive cleaning is the answer, but there's only so much you can do. But this house is so old you can actually see a little bit of mold here, but that was right at the corner where the glass was. See this scratch here? That was the homeowner, I think her brother, pulled out the glass and they scratched it, so they're probably gonna need some blue paint. Well, that was a winner. Look at that double gainer. Or the old saying is, if your shower, little things in your shower bug you, just don't wear your glasses. Sorry, that was a bad joke. It's true. Kids don't care, and anybody that does care about little tiny scratches in that are generally going to be on the backside of 50. And if you just know where you're reading or distance glasses in, you can see it. So you definitely got some mold here. I'll spray a little disinfectant. It reminds me of one of my favorite shower stories. It was in Capitola, California. And this guy, a husband and wife, installed a really fancy stone shower. I forget if it was marble or travertine or limestone or something. But they wanted us to do some work on the floor. It's a few years old, and probably a $40,000 install with the bathroom and everything, and it was getting all full of calcium. And we first walk in there and notice there was a shower curtain. You just don't see shower curtains on fancy showers like that. They always buy the real thick, expensive glass so they can see in and enjoy the fancy stonework. But at some point in the conversation, I felt familiar with the guy enough. God dang, man, I cannot use this blade on this wall. Just taking the freaking paint off. Some crap. So I felt comfortable enough asking the guy, he goes, how come you got a shower curtain on this beautiful shower install? All this nice stone, mosaic. And he looks at me with a deadpan face and says, have you seen my wife? She was a big gal. You didn't want to look at her. That was hard to keep a straight face after he gave us that comment. God damn it. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Alright, let me continue on. I think this audience is making me clumsy. Kind of funny, just double the length and haven't chipped the tiles or the damn coating yet. Who knows? It could have been thinner on that one side. It's definitely something that was sprayed on. But all this stuff, man, you got to talk to the customer, especially when you're dealing with the tile, a porcelain tile where they cut the tile to fit. Maybe they started at the top and worked their way down and the end didn't hit perfectly. And I believe it's rules and regulations that you start at the bottom, work your way up. But there's a lot of do-it-yourselfer tile guys out there, and they'll start at the top and get a nice even edge, but then they get down the bottom and they're out of room, so they cut the tile. And a lot of porcelains, they get pretty delicate once they've been cut. And you come in here with your blades and chippers and picks and all that, and very easy to crack that tile or chip it or something. But see that black moldy crap there. There you go. So you want to oversell or overqualify the danger of it, but just the fact that you're digging this stuff out so carefully is more than just about any handyman will do. I'll chop at it for 20 minutes and get the bulk of it off, and then just start slapping another product in there. But this is a goofy insert. And, when I shoot the next segment of putting it back in there, you'll see it's much more varied. I couldn't quite tell. I thought it'd be consistent. But it's quite off. Very crooked. And there's no ventilation in this bathroom, but somebody must have been a long soaker, spending too much time in here. And also probably a white bar soap user, which as far as shower stalls go and their longevity, they're the devil. It's the devil. White bar soap has tallow in it, which it's like Twinkies for mold. Tallow's animal fat. That's what makes soap sudsy, I guess. So I always recommend people use olive oil soap or glycerin soaps, which don't get all foamy, but they also don't have anything in them that mold likes to fester on. I don't get why that one area was was chipping so easy. I haven't chipped it yet on this whole back side. So that's pretty moldy over here. I'm going to force a disinfectant in there and then let it sit for a day or so, and then tell her to, well, it doesn't need a day, it probably only needs 5-10 minutes of contact before it does its thing, and then I'll have her turn the fan on. I'll leave her with a little dry pod that she'll have to put on the milk crate. The dry pod's a round 360 type fan that blows air in every direction, 360. So that way she doesn't have to keep coming in here and moving the fan. Yeah, I wish that other wall went so smooth. This one's going pretty darn quick. Even though there's more mold on this wall. Yeah, once you see how I leave this looking, you'll be impressed. It looks super clean. Unfortunately, you can't get baby blue silicone. It flexes so much, I don't know if you'd want to, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you'd want to put like super ground additive in there. When something's moving this much, you need the material to move with it. Yeah, speaking of moving, let me move the key. So, turned out I'm not the only one that chipped it. See right there? So she has spare paint, and that's as close as she could get on the collar. But I didn't have my dental pick, but I got this little pick from Ace Hardware dollar section, which is sometimes better because they're sturdier, but in the corner sometimes you can't get a blade in there. So you do what you can, scour it, but then you just got to dig it out. Well, that's a good whopper there. And if you, let's see if we can get the camera there. It's not this, it's not like tile, but hear that? I'm hitting the back. It's not like if this leaked water would ever find its way into the drywall, that the tub comes up. It's got a lip back there to keep that from happening. So this is more of an aesthetic thing. You could probably not seal it at all and might be better off, but see that piece? You can see the mold on there. Anyhow, as you start doing more and more of these repairs, you start collecting more and more little tools, namely knee pads, which I forgot, so I borrowed the towel from her. Let's try that again. Maybe it's my heavy breathing on there. But things are going quicker. This is the moldiest shower I've seen in Nevada. Makes it kind of fun, gratifying. Oh, it's like cleaning clean carpet. Where's the fun in that? When you see all that flex, dang man. No wonder you don't see these installs around much. Bingo, one piece. Sometimes you want to come in at it this way, kind of get that buildup of minerals, which this one certainly has. You can hear it, that scrunchy noise there, and then come at it from an angle. So all you people out there in TV land, I hope you appreciate that I'm doing this job for free, just to create a video so that you can learn this masterful art and make money. If you actually go out and make a few bucks, and why don't you send a check to your local Ronald McDonald House as an appreciation. Looking good, looking good. See where that little guy gets in handy there? All that crud out of there. Boy, that's a tight gap. It's going to be easy to silicone it. The thing you want to be mindful of is making sure you get plenty of material in there, even though it's not all that deep. On this one, I'm gonna do everything I can to fill it, which the last dude didn't do, that's for sure. Maybe over in that corner, but nowhere else. Alrighty, where am I at over here? Right there. Okay, I got to move the camera in. Have to be the tripod here. I can't figure out a camera angle for this corner. So, see how I dropped the blade in there? I'm not really sure where the gap is, so you kind of gotta find it, dig around for it, and then make your two cuts. See all this mineral deposit on the porcelain there? I'm gonna try a product I got called Magic Owl's Glass and Metal Magic. And it's a real mild, non-acidic abrasive that probably was just with a towel or a little white pad punch out. Be able to get that off of there. Stone Pros. Oh geez, they changed the name of it. What do they call that stuff? Boy, look at the flex. Stone Pro. Oh boy, can't remember the name of it. I know I got some in the truck, but it's same kind of thing. Mild abrasive, although the Magic Owls, you can actually feel the abrasive. Stone scrub. Boy, once you go 50, man, it's all downhill. I tend to use the stone scrub on more delicate stuff where I don't want any dulling going on, whereas the Magic Owls product acts more like a 400 grit diamond, and on a lot of travertine and limestones you can use it as a polishing compound, or a honing compound, sorry, to get out water rings and whatnot. Jeez, look at that. Man, look at that. All that crap coming out of there. So I'm going to take my little Hoover and try and extract some of that before getting it wet. What a piece of crap. Pardon my Francois. Well, if this were a tougher coating, man, this would be a piece of cake, but I'm all paranoid now. Oh, look at that. See, a lot of times you can get stuff off with a razor blade, just like a granite counter. See how that, this is all just mineral. Our water's pretty hard here. It's delicious, but hard. This is all minerals too, see that? Let me make sure I got the camera right. Homeowners never think to do this behind their spigots on their granite counters, or any counter where the minerals show up. And heck with the Magic Owls, just did it on the razor blade. Nice. So take a look at the fixtures. You can see the crazy hard water. Rotten this one. No point in polishing that. That's $7 at any hardware store. Alright, we get to get this corner out. Ooh, that's a big fatty. Look at that. Not sure how the hell we're going to put this video together. It's going to be 6 hours long by the time I'm done with it. You have to do it in a movie maker. Yeah, I'm getting a little clumsy with this one-handed, but yeah, I think you're you're getting the point. You got a good camera angle here. Time to bring in the doctor. Isn't that nice? I've had some where you pull out some silicone and man, here comes this black volcanic La Brea tar pits ooze. Just keeps coming and coming and coming. You're like, where the hell is this coming from, man? Usually it got in further up from a crack somewhere where in the deflection zone, as we call it, where water bounces off the shower's body and finds its way into a crack and starts collecting. And then here you come, you're essentially pulling the plug, and here comes the horribleness. Hopefully I'm not making you seasick with the moving camera here, but you're getting a killer angle. All for the sake of education. Mr. Chandler Thompson out of somewhere in Atlanta, one of the many suburbs. I think he was the inspiration for this. He does a lot of videos, and he had asked me if I'd done one, and I thought I had. I went looking for it in my YouTube library. I was kind of surprised that there was nothing there, because I've literally done thousands of these dang things. I think I've done lots of pictures, I know that, and put them on the forum, but as far as a video, to do a freshie for free. Hey, I'm almost done. I'm going to do that corner once I put the camera down. Oh man, look at all that build up. You see that? Wow. Doesn't hurt that in my past life I was a Peruvian cokehead. So I know my way around a razor blade. Just kidding, just kidding. We got it all out. We're going to do a quick vacuum to get the little bits of silicone that are still hiding out under there. Get the stuff in there, pulling out. Ooh, that's a big chunk. Alrighty. Clean up the tub. I'm gonna have to get a pick, get that piece out of there, being stubborn. Try and leave everything cleaner than you found it. Spray the magic in there, disinfectant. Sometimes you'll see some nastiness come out, but don't be afraid to get it wet, especially on an insert or a tub where you know that water's not going to get into the walls, or the liquid, I should say. Hardly anything's coming out of this one. It's pretty good. Sometimes you get the black fuzzies running out. So we'll leave it like that for overnight, and then turn the fan on, and I'll be back 2 days to put it back together. 36 hours or so later, got it all dried out. I'm going to do 2 examples of how to put the silicone back in, and if you'll notice, I bring the tape right down to the very edge. And when you look at it from above, it's just barely away from the wall. And this is sort of a way to learn how to do it. Generally I freehand them because I've done so many, but this way we can inject the silicone in, and in this particular case we want to force it in as far as possible and then easily clean it out with your finger and then pull the tape off and give it one more wipe. And because silicone skins up so quickly, especially in this dry climate, you really don't want to do much more than, say, 2 feet at a time. Here we go. Got the silicone loaded in our $6 caulking gun. There we go. Put an angular tip, cut to the tip, and I think I talked about earlier that we're using a light gray. And see how it's continuing to come out? There's a release on the gun. Every time you're done, you want to hit this button, and that releases the rod that pushes it out. So that way you're not wasting material. So I'm going to start from this end, and you want to move at a pace that you can see the silicone moving ahead of you. You don't want to go so fast that you're just trailing it. So here we go. Hopefully you can see that from that angle. And you just give it light little pumps and move real slow. Because of the tape, I can be pretty sloppy with it. I don't care that it's getting all over the place. Sometimes you got to backtrack if you see a little air pocket or something. And every once in a while you want to take your towel. In this case I'm using the customer's paper towels. Just keep your tip clean. But you can see all this excess. I'm not worried about that because of the tape. So I don't bore you to death, let me stop at this point and release the pressure. You heard that click. And I'm just going to force it in there with my finger. They make these little devices you can get at the hardware store. That's basically a finger on a stick, little rubber handle, grout applicator, whatever they call it. It comes with a couple different angles. I'm not afraid to get my finger sticky. And I got 5 applicators right here with 3 different tips, 3 different angles on each one of them. Sometimes as you get into this more, you'll figure out which finger is going to work best from a certain angle. And you can see that it's nice and clean. And one of the tricks is to get your noggin below grade and make sure you don't have any openings or air bubbles. Because it's when you're working from above, it's easy to miss a spot, and if you come back later, even 5 minutes later, and try and fill it in, you're going to ruin the texture. You don't want to make it look like a welder's bead or anything. You don't want any ripples, lines, starts or stops. Those are all areas where crud can gather. This tub's got a good solid foundation. It's not flexing. If you got a tub that drops and creaks and there's a concern with that, the good trick is to fill up the tub with water before you fill this up. And that'll drop it to its lowest point so that when a human body gets in here later, you're not going to pull the silicone away from either surface, the wall or the tub. Makes it a little more challenging to do the job without getting too wet, but it's a good trick that I do pretty often. You leave the water in there while it's drying, say 48 hours to be safe, and when you drain it, the tub's going to lift a little bit and cause the silicone to get a little beer belly. But let's do one more pass. There we go. Because the tub's lifting, the silicone's gonna squish out a little bit, but most people won't notice that. So I'm gonna pull this tape off. It's slow and steady. Always have a paper bag waiting for you to drop the tape into. Again, you can tape the whole thing up if you're going to do it this way. Just make it so that you can take it off in sections without screwing it up. Again, you don't want to do more than one side at a time, or maybe 2 or 3 feet until you get really quick and good at it. So right now you can see that there's kind of a hard edge on it on the lower side. Actually, it's kind of right in the middle. It's such a goofy install. So I'm going to wet finger and do one quick pass non-stop. And right there, hit that one more time. Every time you touch it, try and go the whole way. This little section there, and because it's not totally consistent, I'm going to come in with my towel on my fingertip and clean off anything that I don't want skinned over. You don't want any silicone feathered out or skinned over there, because it will eventually peel away as the tub flexes and the owner scrubs the area. And once it lifts up, water and soap and dirt will get under there. So that looks pretty good. I don't know if you can, yeah, right here where I stopped prematurely, left a little flat spot, a ridge. So I'm going to clean that off. I don't know if you can see, but every time I touch it, I wipe my finger on it. And sometimes you got to get it just in there with a thinner finger. There, that was perfect. So that looks good. Looks good. Let me move that off, and I'll show you. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so that's how we tape it. Now I'll show you from here, from the flexi zone there, all the way across, and now we get to deal with this huge cavernous corner there. And let me set up the tripod so you can see that. But other than what I'm just seeing now, so I'm going to get my pinky wet, smallest of finger, and try and, that thumb side worked better, just to smooth that out a little bit. See, I'm breaking my own rule and touching it a little too late into the game. I think I got just enough time to smooth that out without disrupting it too much. You can see there's some of the exposed white paint there that from up above you won't see, the customer won't see. So let me set the tripod and I'll show you how to do a big gap like that. We're all done. So now in a couple days you can put in a new door assembly. This is a rust spot that she's going to have to put some of this blue paint on there. And there you go, looking nice and clean all the way around. And that corner there, I mean, that's going to be the best way to do it, where it's kind of recessed. If it was bulging out, it's more likely to get scratched or pulled out or damaged in cleanings. I know she probably keeps a bottle of shampoo or something there, so it's probably need to be a little more conscientious about keeping that area clean or using a dish. But there you go, how to install silicone. I'll show you the product that we use. 100% silicone, window door, attic, basement, and I don't know about that 10-year mold-free protection, what that gets you, probably a free tube. But, well, lifetime guarantee, never noticed that. But I haven't found a better product, I just wish they had more colors. They got white, almond, light gray, black, bronze, and I think a dark gray, but all the dark colors have like a pasty dye additive to them that make it really hard to clean up. I'll use them on occasion, but you got to charge more, and the cleanup takes about twice as long. Alright, comment in the section below if you got any questions. And
here's an interesting angle. I got this sticky tripod. I'm never going to put this thing anywhere. The big suction cup. So you get to see his job.